It's just another expiration Friday. Oh. Hopefully a dough day. Yeah. Because that's what we like. We do like to put the dollar bills in our pocket. Well, why is that, Bart? Because we believe in money rule number one. Drum roll, please. Money solves all of your money problems. I am your lovable host, Bart, from the farm fields of Valparaiso, Indiana. And we also like money rule number two, which is cash flow is king. Cash is king. What did do you even know your own money rules? I think so. We'll rewind that. If you would ever edit these videos, maybe you can fix that. I'm not sure I ever will. Money rule number two, cash flow is king, cash is queen, and debt is the debt is the joker. So that's why I am your best friend in stocks, options, and dividends, because with the options and the dividends, we like to collect the cash flow. And guess what? I warned you that one day this may happen, and that day has come. Indeed, you are taking a look. Overt your eyes because you are taking a look at my mug, my made for radio face, because I do have a face made for radio, a voice made for print, and yet here we are together. So thanks for joining me on this Friday. What is today? It's Friday, July 7th, 20 and the 23. It's 10:22 a.m. on the Swatch Watch here in the farm fields of Valparaiso, Indiana, which we subscribe to that daylight savings time. So that's Central Standard and the time. What's going on today? Let's take a look. We have what? So with the options, basically this is a stock derivative, right? So for call options, there's puts and there's calls. Call options, I do covered calls all the time based on my stock positions that are inside of this Robinhood account. This is a brokerage account that allows me to sell and buy stock options, which are derivatives of actual shares of stock. So, for instance, this BAC stands for Bank of America. The 2950 call, that means I'm obligated to sell. And the 13 cells down here represents contracts. Each one option contract represents 100 shares of that stock. So there's 1,300 shares of stocks that are involved in this contract. And it's between an actual person, right? It's me and another person. They buy the option, not the obligation, okay? They can have the option to purchase my 1,300 shares of Bank of America for $29.50 on or before July 7th. Hey, that's today. Yes. So that's expiration Friday. I like to trade stock options weekly. Okay. Some of them trade weekly, some of them are monthly only. So the weekly ones have the most activity, the most volume of trades. So this trade is between me and another investor slash trader, and they've agreed to pay me. They pay me a premium for the opportunity, a future opportunity to buy Bank of America shares from me for $29.50. So if we click through this particular trade, what we find, drum roll please, what we find is, let's see, when was this contract put on? So it was on June 29th. I did a covered call roll, which means I already had a position. I already had a covered call position on Bank of America, and then I rolled it to a future date. Okay. So it was a June 30th call. So I bought that closed. Okay. And we'll get into all these details in future episodes, but I bought that particular contract closed. So I then paid X amount of dollars to close it, which was involved in rolling it to the future date of today, which is July 7th. So I did that. And in doing so, I made an additional $26 on the amount of contracts that I was able to roll from my original covered call position. Sounds complicated. I know it did for me. I've been doing this for so long now. It's been like 8 months. What? Oh yeah, I just looked at myself in the camera. What in the world? I didn't even comb my hair today. I'm mostly gray. You probably can't see it, but I'm trying to grow a Fu Manchu mustache because when we were on our epic road trip over the last few weeks, my son at one point said, "You need to grow a Fu Manchu," and I like a good laugh and some entertainment. So I'm like, you know what? I'll consider that. And then towards the very end of the trip, I'm like, I think I'm going to go for it. So you can't tell that maybe one day it'll come in. How do I can I move this thing in closer? Wait a minute. Almost. I don't know how this works yet. Yeah, you really can't tell because it's mostly gray. But I was just looking at my hair. I look like Cruella DeVille. Is that her name? From the Dalmatians with my hair. I never normally see that part of it. It's actually darker than I consider it to be. One half is dark, the other half is gray. But normally when I see it, which is straight on, it's almost completely gray. Enough about that. Now let's go back to this trade. So we have an expiration of this trade today. So if this contract expires, okay, typically if this expires, and you'll see this price here. So Bank of America is currently trading at $28.60. So even now it's up 1.12% today, it's still well under the $29.50 strike price that was in our options contract agreement. Me and the buyer. I was the seller. They pay me a premium for the right, but not the obligation to buy my shares at $29.50 on or before the expiration date of July 7th. And if they do so, I have no say in it. I have the obligation. So on the selling side of the option, I commit to the obligation to sell those shares at that price. So that trade is doing well. And you can see this plus 90 means it's plus 90% into the profit of that trade for what is totally available from the original trade. Same here with Devon Energy. Devon Energy, one of my favorite sweetheart energy stocks. I sold 13 contracts representing 1,300 shares at $50 call options. And currently, Devon Energy is trading at 48.26. Now, knowing what we know about the market, it is very unlikely that between now and the end of trading today, so for me, it's 10:28 a.m. Trading will end at 3 p.m. today. So between now and the end of trading today, it is very unlikely that Devon Energy is going to go up to $50 or above, which would then trigger the assignment of those shares or the potential assignment of those shares. And they would be just taken from me, like having the rug pulled right from under me on my Devon Energy. So it looks like that trade will be just fine. And you can see, what did we do here? So when we sold, let's see how many of those. So I've got 13 contracts, but it represented two different trades. So I collected $34 here and $132 here. So that would be beep, boop, boop, carry the one. That would be $166 that I collected within 1 week of making this trade for essentially just taking the risk of having those shares called away. But right now, I'm going to be at full profit. If I let those expire, I could always roll those to next week. And if we look at Devon, let's click back into it. Devon is it's up 1.5% today. So it's possible that I will consider rolling that trade, because what you want to do on the call side, which is, of course, again, selling the option, but not the obligation for a buyer to buy those shares from me for the agreed upon price on a future contract date. Now, so on a green day, which would mean the stock is up. Okay, so if we go back, or if we go to Yahoo Finance and we pull up DVN, which is Devon Energy, we can see it's having a green day. Drum roll, please. There it is. It is up 73 cents or 1.52%. So you will capture the most premium when you trade on a green day if you are selling covered calls. Now, on a red day would be a great day to sell puts. Now, puts would be on my trade or my side of things. Do I have any puts on the board here? You could put it on the board. Yes. Okay, so the most or the closest put we have is not doing well. We'll look at it anyways. So if we look at Micron, which is ticker symbol MU, not FU, right? This is a family show. Terry, how many times I got to tell you? So if we look at our trade here on Micron, I put this trade on when we go to the trade history. So on June 29th, which Micron was probably trading around $64 a share at the time, I sold a put, which gave me the obligation to buy how many shares? 300 shares, so 3 contracts. It gave me the obligation to buy 300 shares of Micron at $61 on or before July 14th. Now, at any time, the other end of that trade, they can put those shares to me, which means force my purchase at $61 on or before this expiration date, which is next Friday. Now, my old MacBook is making a very loud fan noise. Hopefully, you're not picking that up at all on this sweet $100 microphone that I have in front of me. I'm going to try to get a new rig set up so you can see more of my face. Are you sure about that? Probably not. But in fact, I want to show you this just for the record. Where should I go here? See that double chin? That's going away because right now I'm cutting. I'm on a diet. I've gained so much weight this year, just living La Vida Loca, drinking wine and drinking my ice cold beer they call Miller Lite. So I'm going on a little bit of a diet. It's time. I mean, normally, and I know you're not going to believe this, but it's true. Girl, you know it's true. Normally I have 6-pack abs. You're kidding me, right? No, it's true. I do normally have 6-pack abs that I'll tell the whole story on soon, but I have one big flab now instead of 6-pack abs. So I need to get back to that because we have a trip to Mexico. So we'll be out in the sun with my shirt off, and I don't want to look like some beached whale. So it's time. I got to start dieting now if I want to get in shape for that trip. That's not until the middle or maybe the 3rd week of October because I've fallen so far out of shape. So getting back to what we were doing here, Micron, okay, I have the obligation to buy these 300 shares at $61 on or before July 14th. Now, for taking that risk, I was paid upfront and right into my pocket $138 for taking that risk, okay? Now, if you look at the trade, currently Micron's at $61.24. So I'm still safe. Woo! Now, I don't mind if I owned Micron. I think it's a great company. It does fluctuate in price a lot. It is a bit cyclical in their business model. We'll get into the details of Micron in a future episode. But right now, that trade is under pressure because the volatility of this trade is higher because Micron moves at a higher beta than most all stocks, which means it's volatile. The opportunity for it to move up or down is higher than, say, a company like Johnson & Johnson, which, by the way, I'm looking over here on my left where I got the Big Mac. I got the Big Mac screen with 2 different web browsers, and it's showing me the S&P 500, which is currently at 440.09. So it's gone from a bit red to just a bit up today, the S&P 500. But Johnson & Johnson, I was looking at, and they are down over 1% today, under 160 for the first time in a while. So I got my eyeballs on that because I've got a small position in Johnson & Johnson to consider. So we'll keep an eye on this Micron. But again, there's 2 sides of an options trade. There is the call option, and then there's the put option. And I like to sell both, okay? When you think of options, you typically think of buying options, where all the risk or most of the risk lives. And when you think about selling options, that's essentially the difference between being the casino and being the gambler. I prefer to be the casino, so I sell options, as one of my mentors, who doesn't know me, but I heard it on a podcast, said, you're either selling options or you're selling options. You're not buying them unless you're buying them to close from an original sold position. So Devon looking good. Target looking good. I've got a 139 call on how many contracts? 8 contracts. So that represents 800 shares. And it's currently, you see this 0.01. That's basically 1 penny. It should cost me around 1 penny if I wanted to close these contracts. So if I put those 8 in there that I have on the board at the 1 penny, it would cost me around $8 to close that position if I wanted to just close it out right now. And if you look down here, when I sold this covered call on June 29th, I collected $248 right into my pocket. So if I wanted to just take that trade right off the table and end any risk of Target exploding and going through my strike price, and I have all 800 shares called away at the $139, then I could close that right now, and that position will be off the table. My 800 shares will be secure, and I'll pocket the difference between the $8 that it would cost me to close it and what I collected of $248. So I would net profit $240 on the trade and live to fight another day with my 800 shares of Target. Because if we look at Target, I want to at least own them through the next dividend date, because I like to collect the premium on the options, cash flow, and I like to collect dividends on the stock, cash flow. So cash flow is king, cash is queen, and debt is the what was that noise? Debt is the Joker. Remember when Joaquin, is that his name? Joaquin Phoenix played the Joker and he had that great laugh. So that's where I get that laugh from when I reference money rule number 2, and that is debt is the Joker. So if we look at Target currently, because of its low price, it's paying over 3.3%. So it's at 3.36% dividend, which means if you just invested in this stock and held it, you would make 3.36% in dividend payouts without even considering what the stock price appreciation may be over that time, which it's going to go up. Mark my words, and mark it with a B. Your new best friend in stocks, options, and dividends says that over time, Target's going to go up. It may not be it may not be in this year, 2023, because pressure is going to be on retail due to the possible recession. But my point was I want to maintain ownership through this date. Okay, that's a very important date when it comes to dividend investment. That's the ex-dividend date, and what you need to be is an owner of the shares, a full owner of the shares on the morning that the market opens up on this date, which typically means for most of us, we need to own it at least no later than the day before, which would be August 14th. So I'm already an owner and I want to own it through that date so that I can then collect my dough right there on this date. The payout date represents when they will send me my check. Boop, boop, boop. Hey, show me the money. And they do put that in my pocket. So this amount, that is a quarterly payment, okay? Annual payout. So it'd be quarterly means 4, right? Yeah. So $1.10 times 4 is 440. So if I own 800 shares, right, which I do, and I'm the owner through this date of August 15th, that means the $1.10, okay, times my 800 shares is $880 that they're going to pay me just for owning it. So what I like to do is collect the dividend and collect premium on selling call options, which as we look through here, the last trade I collected $248. So we will likely I'm going to keep an eye on Target today. It's up today, which means it's green, even though it shows it's red right here. It's a green day. Go to Target on finance.yahoo.com, and you'll see that it's a green stock today, up $1.05, which is nearly 1%, okay, which makes it a great day to trade covered calls. So if I rolled it right now, right? So let's just do an example. If I roll this position means it we'll buy it closed and sell it open in the same trade ticket. So it'll be one fell swoop. And if we look out 7 days, that's 14 days. We still want to be, fairly conservative. And what means conservative to me is chance of profit and or delta. Okay. So if we looked at a 136 strike, this says that the chance of profit is beep, boop, boop, carry the 183.49%, meaning that's my chance that this will just expire and all the premium will just be stuffed into my pocket. Another number to look at is the Greeks, and you look at the delta. So the delta shows 0.20, which means there's a 20% chance that this trade will go against me and those shares will be called away at the 136 strike. So that's calculating risk. If I want to keep the shares, which I do, I can go all the way back up to the 139 strike. Okay. So, what are the chances that Target, which is currently trading at 131.87, what are the chances that Target between now and 7 days, next Friday, the end of trading next Friday, July 14th, what are the chances that that stock is going to go from 131.88 all the way through the strike price, which strike price means share price of 139? And that says not very likely. Okay, maybe an 8.86% chance that that will actually happen, which then leads you to your chance of profit of 92.3%. So if we clicked through this number here, okay, this would show me that I can earn right now 152 additional dollar bills to stuff into my skinny jeans. That's not true, right, Bart? No, it's not. Number one, I can't wear skinny jeans right now because I'm a bloated hog. And two, I've never owned skinny jeans. So add that to your resume. It gives you a little more credibility if you've never worn skinny jeans at my age. I'm not saying that if you're 30 and you are currently wearing skinny jeans, I have nothing against that, but I'm 52 years old, so you will not find me in skinny jeans anytime soon. So if we try to collect this 152, okay, now this is going to show me a bid and an ask once I click through the bid and the ask, okay? So if I click through review order, so at the 19 cents per, okay, there's 800 shares up for grabs. It shows the bid at 18 and the ask at 20. So what I, if I wanted to try to collect as much money as possible, I would ask for 20 cents per, but the buyer is saying, well, but I'm offering 18. So you would think, well, going in the middle at 19 might work. But according to according to the AI robots out there, they're saying that you could put that on the board and it would remain on the board until possibly filled before now and the end trading today. Or if you wanted to fill it right now, you would click on the 18 and it shows, hey, you could get a high likelihood of filling that at 18, which would credit me $144 bills right here, right now, and still being fairly conservative. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that trade on before our very eyes to see if we can fill that. And it's a covered call roll. Okay, so that just happened. It was filled, meaning those were sold. I put them up. Hey, you anybody want these? And somebody said, yeah, I'll take those. And they did. So now you see Target is off of this board and it's moved down to the next week expiration board right here. Okay, so the first thing it shows is, hey, that trade's underwater. That's because right now as we speak, Target is green, meaning the price of the shares are going up, which threatens my position at 139. I do not want those shares called away. I want to maintain ownership of those while still collecting the dollar bills that I just put in my pocket, right? Going back to that trade we just made, I collected $144. The system is telling me, the robots out there are saying, if I tried to resell it again right now, it would cost me $160 to close that trade, which would be minus $16. That says minus 8. Well, I don't know. You do your own math. 160 to 144 means $16 to me. So I want to maintain my ownership of Target, but I also want to collect that next dividend. So we'll have to watch that trade. We'll watch that together. Together forever we will. So Bank of America, good. Devon Energy, good. We might consider rolling BOFA. No, we won't roll Bank of America, and I'll tell you why. I will tell you why, although I should. I was a gambling man, which I am a little bit. I'm conservatively a gambler. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trading any options whatsoever. But if we look at Bank of America, currently up 31 cents today to 28.60. So our 29.50 expiration today of call 2950 is really not under pressure at all. But if we look at a very important date, actually, that's not next week, is it? So we could put that. So earnings date is always important, and this is a quarterly reporting company, Bank of America, and their earnings will come out on July 18th, and today's what? The 7th. Okay, so that is a week and a half from now. So during earnings, because we don't necessarily know what's going to go on, the volatility increases, which then also increases the premium. Hey, wait a minute. So what I will likely do is this. For this particular trade, I'm going to probably let Bank of America expire today. So then I'll collect all of the premium, and then I can live to trade another day, hoping that Bank of America may go up, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, which then would give me higher premium to trade it through the earnings date, which I think they're going to miss on earnings. I think Citigroup's going to miss on earnings, and I'll tell you why in a different video. In the next, not the next, but a different video, we'll deal with both of those specifically as far as the big banks are concerned. But I've rambled on long enough for my debut face episode. So I know it's disappointing. I know you probably want to unsubscribe, but I beg you, don't do it. Maybe I'll wear like some makeup. No, that's what got Target in trouble. That's what got Bud Light in trouble. So don't do that. I probably won't wear any makeup, but I will probably maybe comb my hair, get a little better tan, let the Fu Manchu grow in a little more. May it be at least entertaining to you. This video has gone on long enough. I will be back today. I got several other things I'd like to do. Looking back over on Johnson & Johnson, did I miss my low of the day? Darn it. So Johnson & Johnson was as low as like 159.59. Now it's at 159.88. I wanted to sell some puts on that today. So we'll take a closer look at it, but this video will end here. But what I need you to do, if you could, if you're not already a subscriber, just click on that button. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a lovable comment. I will respond to that comment. And guess what else I'll do? That's right. I'll see you in the next video.